Hello guys, we'll just be starting in another 2 minutes. We're waiting for a few more viewers. All right. Hello guys, good evening. This is AVK from Elation Crypto, and I will be teaching you the basic fundamentals of all technical markets in the world, candlesticks, and support and resistance. Okay, so let's first start off with candlesticks. So I'm just going to be showing you what bullish candlesticks are so that it doesn't confuse you people and you understand that vice versa stands for a bearish candle. So a bullish candle is basically a long green candle which has very high volume. It sets up it sets up for the future for the coin to go up even more. Or it's a candle which starts off bearish and then retraces the whole move, which sets off the future for it to be even more bullish. I can show you an example here. So we see on Ethereum that we have a bearish wick candle here on the top. So if anyone saw this on the 4 hour and shorted here, they would have instantly been in around 10% profits in almost 2 days. So if you do not understand anything of technical analysis, understanding candlesticks is the most important thing. There are hundreds of candlestick patterns, but the most basic stands out that this is a bullish candle. These two are the main bullish candles and the vice versa stands for a bearish candle. All right, so let's start off with support and resistance now. Okay, so what is support and resistance? Technical analysis, they use support and resistance just to identify the price points on a chart where the probabilities of a pause or a reversal is extremely high. So for example here, as we can see, this was a pivotal resistance because it completely changed the trend of Bitcoin and it started dumping all the way up to 30,000. Here as well, you can see that with just 2 points, a whole support range was formed, and with just 2 points, a whole resistance range was formed. A support usually occurs where a downtrend is expected to pause due to concentration of a lot of buyers in that area, and a resistance for vice versa is where an uptrend is expected to pause and then it turns into a downtrend. So here we can see how this whole channel was respected almost 15 times just before it flipped the support into resistance, which I'll come back to in some time. So how many types of support and resistance do we have? There are four major types. The first one is horizontal, which is basically just a trend line. The second is moving averages, which we will get back to later. The third is trend line, which is the most important one in my opinion. And the fourth is psychological numbers. For example, 50, 100, 150, 200, etc. Whenever a support flips into resistance, it is called as a support resistance flip. So for example, here it was the support for almost 11-12 days. And then we see it broke out of the range, retested it as a resistance, and from 5.2 it started dumping till almost $1. That's an 80% dump just off a support resistance flip. Now that's not usually the case. Nothing dumps 80% just because of a flip, but you get the idea. A support resistance or a resistance support flip is the easiest and the most successful way to trade. Although it takes a lot of time to find such a setup, but if you're patient, you can easily make a lot of money just by following this simple strategy. Now, the second most important thing is, where do you purchase or where do you short a coin? How to understand when to get into a trade? So there's a few things that you guys need to understand. Everything in crypto moves with the respect of Bitcoin. So for example, here we can see how Ethereum, I'm going to show an example of Ethereum Bitcoin just for analysis. So this was a resistance which was formed on 10th December 2021, and it's been almost 8 months and this resistance has still remained intact. And this is a support which was formed on 3rd May 2021. It's been almost a year and more, and this support has still remained intact until it broke on 24th May, and now it's back to retest it as a support. But this is a pivotal point because both the resistance and the support, they come together here. And here we can see how hard the bulls tried to push it up, but the bears came into play and just broke right through it as soon as they could. Even though it took just 6 days of green candles to get to the resistance, you can see how hard it was for them to break through just because of a simple line. This is why a resistance and a support is so pivotal in trading, because it can really just change the whole trend of whatever you are seeing. So when you take a trade, you need to check first. The first things you need to check is obviously the crypto which you want. You need to check if it's at support, if it's at resistance, and then I'll advise you to check the same crypto against Bitcoin so that you know how it could move. So for example, if I was to long Ethereum, no matter how the price is and it's at support, I would surely go for it. And if I was to short something and it's at resistance, again, I would surely go for it, because the chances of me being wrong is very less. I can obviously set a stop loss a little bit above or below my entries so that the risk is minimized, but you get the point. So the main aim for drawing a trend line is just to get the maximum points on a line. Most people, they ask if a trend line should be wick to wick or should it be a candle to candle. It doesn't matter. The trend line can be here, the trend line can be here. You just need to get as many points as you could so that you can understand the price action, you can understand where to place your orders, where to have stop losses, etc. Another example that I'd like to show you, that support resistance works in every time frame. It can be a 1 week chart, a 1 day chart, a 4 hour chart, 1 hour, 15 minutes, it doesn't matter. But the higher the time frame is, the better accuracy it will be. So for example, this is a 1 hour chart of FTM, and this resistance, you see how the price, obviously this is a very small support, the price pumped up to here and started dumping again. So naturally this becomes a resistance line, and here you can see how it broke out of it with strength, almost came to retest it. But it doesn't usually mean that if something is retesting it has to touch the trend line. It just means that it comes back here or at least close to it, and you can see how hard it pumped after that. And then this support line was formed with just 2 points here, this one and this one, and this support line was respected all the way up to the last few days. And as soon as it broke, it started going down from 0.34 to zero point 0.9. That's almost a 10% dump. So all of the uptrend in phantom was dropped just because of a single trend line. That is how important trend lines are in crypto and in any technical market, because they can change how a coin works. They can change how a coin moves up, coin moves down. Because a coin bounces at support, it drops down from resistance. Here it did not even flip into a resistance, it just dumped straight away. And the bears did not hesitate, they just started dumping and it went down almost 10% in just a few hours. Another example I'd like to show, this was a resistance on Matic. It flipped into support when it retested here. Again, it just kept moving up and down and up and down. And here when it touched the support, it retested it. It started moving up. It went up almost 3x. As you can see here, this is a trend line which I've drawn from 13th May 2021. And just a touch from here moved it 3x, 3.36 to 0.99. That's almost 3x in just one and a half months. Not even one and a half, just 1 month. There's You can open any chart you want and you can find this happening in everywhere. For example, this is a resistance from 14th July. It respected the resistance no matter how hard it pumped, and as soon as it touched here, it got close to retesting it, started dumping right away. And here it retested the support as a resistance, and as you can see, another example from 0.18 to 0.15. It's not magic, it's just a simple trend line that works wonders. So this was just the basics, a very simple lesson on support and resistance. You can just draw a trend line on any time frame. It can be a 15 minute, a 1 hour, 4 hour, 1 week, 1 day. It doesn't matter. It will work 90% of the time. And if it doesn't, you can set a small stop loss at entry, and it'll you'll be fine, because 9 out of 10 times everything supports a trend line. If you don't understand the basics of technicals, then this is a very good lesson, and I would advise you keep watching it several times to understand the basics, because after every week we will be posting lessons on other topics, and this is the basics. And honestly, if you are able to understand just support and resistance, it is more than enough for you to trade, and you can make wonders out of the crypto market. This was just the start, guys. A very basic lesson on support and resistance. We have a lot more coming, many other lessons from ranging from beginner, intermediate to advanced. So I hope you guys stick around and you'll get the best out of us. Now, if you guys have any doubts, I would like you to ask me in the live chat section so that I can clarify you. Please. Okay, if you guys have any doubts, please ask me in the comment section. If you have anything regarding any coin I showed, or you want me to chart any coin so that I can make you understand. Okay, so Ritik Rajan has a question. My question is, if a support or a resistance, when can we enter? Means when exactly at support, even if we don't know where it would bounce from there. Okay, that's a really good question. Okay, so I'll just take an example of let's say KNC here, which is a really good example of support and resistance. So when 2 points are formed here, the support. Okay, I'm just gonna delete this channel first so that I can teach you guys. So let's take that I don't know what to do here. I don't know how to form a support, how to form a resistance. I'm just gonna take 2 points which make sense and which can further increase the trend and touch more points. So I'm gonna take a trend line. I'm gonna start here, and I'm just gonna draw a line and see how it goes. Okay, so here you can see, sorry, yeah, so I just drew a support which touched 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 support, 7 support touches on just one trend line. So where do you purchase? Now, it's not necessary that every time a coin reaches the support it will touch it. For example, you can see here it got very close but it didn't touch, it didn't even touch here. So the best area that I would suggest is you draw a small range here, a small range ranging from here to here, and you start slowly averaging into your entries. So if you purchase one part here, I advise you have a small purchase order here as well, with a stop loss a little below or where there is not enough liquidity, and that way you can get the most out of it. You don't even need to hold a swing position. You can just blindly open a scalp at support, and if you go away for a couple hours, you'd probably be in profits. That's how simple it is. And I'm gonna make an example of resistance here. So I'm just gonna start here, and sorry, I'm gonna start here and I'll draw the line all the way to here, and you can see every single time it's almost touch, not this one. So this would have been a great short opportunity, but it did not touch the trend line. That is why you cannot always keep your orders on the trend line, but you need to average, you need to have enough money in your wallet to be able to buy a position below or above the trend line as well, so that you do not miss out on the move. So an example would be, if you put a shorting order here, you can have one here with a stop loss a little bit above, so that you can get the best out of every trade. I hope you can understand. Okay, what is a supply and a demand zone? All right, so I'm gonna draw a parallel channel here. Just 1 second. So a support zone, sorry, a demand zone is basically a zone where buyers come in full force. I'll just extend this one. So you can see that it's not exactly a trend line. It's just a small zone where buyers are ready to purchase the coin, no matter how hard it retraced, or where it is. For example, here you can see how hard the coin dumped. Now, if someone saw the chart till up to just this candle, they would have probably been, oh, it's too bearish, I'm not going to purchase here. But you can see as soon as it touches the demand zone, people buy in full force, and when it gets out, it started pumping. And the same stands for a supply zone as well. A supply zone is basically just a small zone where sellers come in full force. A demand zone is where buyers come in full force. How to find out what I have drawn is correct or wrong? A question from Vinod Kumar. Okay, so this just comes with practice. I mean, you just need to open 10, 15 charts. You need to draw trend lines on previous price action and see how well you've done. Just open up a chart. I'll suggest you take a 1 day chart so that it's a little more accurate, and just draw a trend line from wherever you want. Just try to get as many points as you can so that it fits your thesis. Now, I'm not telling you will be right 100% of the time, but that's how you will be able to learn. You don't have to be right 100% of the time if you're beginning right now. It just comes with practice. Can you tell us about how? Please chart Bitcoin to explain. Okay, so this is a Bitcoin range which I've drawn. It just has two support touches, but you can see how when it broke the support, how hard it started dumping. It did not even retest. It just started going all the way down. I'm gonna open this on a shorter time frame and show you the recent price action. So this is a parallel channel which I drew when Bitcoin was around 46,000. You can see how hard this resistance was. So I just drew a resistance line here, and this is a support line that I drew, and it respected the channel all along until it broke down from it, and it just started going from 33,000 to 26. That's almost a 25% dump in just a few days, just because it broke down from the support. That's how pivotal a support and a resistance is. And then it started dumping from here again. So I drew a trend line from this price point, and you can see it respected both these price points. But when it broke out here, the most unexpected thing happened. Everyone was bearish at this time. When it was at $20,000, people thought, okay, it's just gonna dump here. But it broke out of this trend line. It went from 20 to 24. That's a 20% pump in just a couple days. So that's how pivotal it is. I hope you get my point, guys. Bal chart, please. Okay, someone is requesting for a bal chart. I'm just gonna draw it here. Okay. So the first thing that I can see here is that these two are pivotal resistance. I cannot draw a line from here because it won't be touching anywhere. So these two are pivotal resistances. So I'm just gonna continue and I'll draw it here. Okay. So these two price points, they were resistances. It broke out of here at 12. It went to 21. That's what, almost a 40, 50, 60% pump. And now it's still just ranging. It touched the support here. It retested as a support here at $4, went up to 5.9. That's almost a 30, 40% pump again. And now it's just in no man's land. You can't really predict something until it's at a pivotal trend line. So I wouldn't suggest trading here because it's not touching any important pivotal line. I don't see any other support here other than maybe this one. But I mean, yeah, it's not touching anywhere. So if you would have purchased or shorted anywhere within this range, you could have made a decent profit, I guess. Um, you mentioned the TL need not be a wick or a candle close. It can be maximum. Okay, so APN has a question. You mentioned the trend line need not be just wick or a candle close, and it just can be maximum touch points. Is there any caveats, like it does not need to touch any candle midpoints? No, it doesn't matter, because So the whole point is you need to get as many points on the line as you can, but they need to be pivotal. For example, you cannot just draw a trend line from here to here because it doesn't mean anything. I mean, there's probably just a few touches of resistances and support, but they are not trend changing lines. Like here, you see the resistance and how it changes the trend. So I can just draw a line here, and there's 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 times that it respected the trend line. So you can't just say draw a trend line from anywhere, say like here and here, and expect, okay, so this is a support, this is a resistance. No, that's not uh, proper. It has to change the trend. I hope you get my point. It has to be changing the trend whenever it touches the line. This support, you can see how many times it respected. This resistance, you can see how many times it respected. This was another resistance which I forgot to tell you guys about. So one, two, this was a fake out. You can see how fast it dumped. It didn't touch here, but you can still call it almost retested it. So that's 1 2 3 4 5 touches before finally breaking out. You can see it retested here. It did go down a little, but bulls came back in full force, and it went from 0.49 to almost zero point 0.8. That's like 80 to 90% pump within a couple days, because it broke out of a massive 1.5 year trend. Yeah, that's 1.5 year trend line, and now it's barely holding on. It's coming at the same place again, because you see the resistance coming from 7 months and you see the support coming from 1.5 months. So can you show the AX's chart support and resistance? A question from Rohan Akhade. All right, okay. Oh man, this, okay, I don't think this thing support it respects anything, because it did a massive pump. Like it went from 0.00 something to 159. So these are just highly volatile coins. I mean, Solana, Doge, AXs, most of the metaverse coins, they are just pump and dump coins. Honestly, they don't really perfectly support the trend lines. I mean, you can't really guess what is going to happen, because these are mainly manipulated by venture capitalists and massive whales. So this is, I wouldn't suggest trading such coins, because you never know what's going to happen. I mean, this one and waves, for example, I'm going to show another example. You see, I mean, how can you say whether it broke a resistance or it's gonna break a support? You never can tell. These are all just highly manipulated coins, so I will suggest you guys stay away from them. What is divergence and MACD? Okay, a question from Gaurav Sharma. This is we will come back to this lesson in another video. All right, I can just see many people just asking for charts of different coins. I'd like if you guys have any doubts on support and resistances, because that is the main chapter of this video. We are here to teach you guys. We'll obviously chart all your coins in the Telegram group later, but I want you guys to ask me doubts on support, resistance, or candlesticks if you have any. What are all the basic tools required for charting A to Z? A question from Mir Adil Ali. Okay, so if you are starting off just now, you can open TradingView. It's a free app. You just go to tradingview.com, or you can download the application. You need to click on this button right here, select the trend line, and wherever you see a support or a resistance, just draw a line. That's how simple it is. And oh, sorry. And I also need you guys to understand what bullish patterns are, what bearish patterns are. I hope you can take a screenshot of this is just the basics of how a pattern works. These are all trend lines, bearish parabolas, bullish parabolas are polars are. I'll get back to this in a minute. Basically asking all the indicators. Another question from Ritik Rajan. Is psychology not in a uptrend every resistance is broken and vice versa? So how can we know this support or resistance could be broken? All right, that's an amazing question. Thank you, Ritik Rajan. So the first thing that I want you to understand is, in every bull market, you will normally have 5 waves, and each wave is accompanied. So you start any coin from the bottom, it creates a higher low, retraces a little bit, not up to the starting point. It's it's very necessary that you see that your coin does not retrace back to the starting point, so that it creates a higher low. And then when it goes back up again, breaks the higher high and creates another higher high. It goes up to 5 stages normally in every bull run. And when it starts retracing, it breaks the higher low, creates a lower low, and then it goes back up again, forms a lower high. So this is what we've been seeing on Bitcoin. Sorry, it's not been able to break any of the higher highs from 66,000. So this was the last high that we saw. Here we see a small pump. No, it did not get back up. Here we see a pump from 33,000 to 47, 48. It did not break the lower high. So this structure remains intact until we see a change in the trend, which we have not seen so far. I hope you guys understand. Can volume helps us take a good position? Absolutely. Volume is the most important indicator or confluence that you need to take into consideration when you are opening a position. If you see something breaking out without volume, there's a very, very high chance that it's just a fake out. You need volume to be accompanied with the coin that you are purchasing, so that you are sure that it breaks out. But to minimize the risk, I'll advise that you do not buy the breakout right away. You purchase the retest. So here I can give you an example. We can see how it broke out of here with such force, came back almost to the place to retest, which is a solid buy zone. Can this okay, another question from Harsh Kotari. Can the support resistance lines drawn right now be used for future time frames as well? Absolutely. So when I drew this trend line from here to here, I never knew if it could touch here again or not. For one, I could just think that it's gonna go down, it's never gonna respect the trend line. But you can see in the future how it came back up, respected the resistance, and then started dumping again. You can open any chart you want and it's going to be the same there. Here the bulls came in full force at the support, went up all the way. They respected the resistance because bears came into full force there, and then it just started going down. You can open any chart you want and it's the same thing for everything. Support is respected, resistance is respected. Only when they both break down or break up and retest, it's a sure short or long position or a short position. How can we guess the right amount of volume needed? A question by Arkojit Das. Now, there's no exact answer for this, because usually you just have to see if the volume that you are seeing right now. So if you are purchasing a breakout, say here, you can see how the volume is much more than the mean volume that we could see in the past year. So the past has been really dry for FTM. You've had almost no volume for another 30 days. But right when it retests, you can see how the bulls came into full force and there was so much volume here. It just has to be higher than the mean volume of the coin before it. Can you show us any fake breakout? All right, I'm gonna show an example in KNC itself. So here, obviously, if anyone saw this chart, they saw the breakout. They would not have wait if they did not wait for the retest. They would have just been in massive losses right away, because this was a fake breakout. I'm gonna show it on a 15-minute time frame so that you guys can understand better. Okay, one second. Okay, for some reason, TradingView is bugging out on me. So I'll just show it in 1 hour. So the basic point is, you need to wait for a retest. All these touches outside, people would have thought, okay, the support is broken, okay, the resistance is broken, let's long here. But no, that's not how it works. You see how the resistance was respected despite the volume, with high volume, the coin breaking out. You need to wait for a retest. I cannot emphasize enough on this, because a retest is very pivotal in making sure that you get a good entry. All right, I guess that's enough for now. If you guys have any other questions, please do type it in the chat so that I can clear it for you. Can you show us how to put proper stop loss? Okay, so stop losses are something which you need to do it as per your volume perspective. Sorry, just 1 second, guys. Okay, so yeah, stop losses are something which cannot be exact. You need to do it on your own basis. How you see liquidity, you need to check the order books. There's a lot of confluences that come into this. So, for example, say you purchase at this support, you never know where the stop loss has to be. So, you need to find the order books. You need to see where the maximum amount of liquidity lies, and you can place your purchase order there instead of the stop loss there. If you are purchasing here, from volume perspective, does it matter to consider the red or green volumes depending on long or short? Yes, absolutely. So if something is at resistance and you see a lot of red volume, volume is basically the same color as the candlestick it has. So if you see something green with massive volume, and then you see how there's no bulls left in this area, bears come into full force with lower volume, but you can see how pivotal it was because it changed the whole trend of the coin. It dumped back to support before going back up again. A question from Vinod Kumar. The support resistance drawn on bigger time frame will be respected on smaller time frame as well. Yes, absolutely. It will be respected, but you will see the coin going below the support or above the resistance for a couple minutes. Obviously, if it is breaking up or breaking down, you'll see it retest as a support or resistance first. But yeah, uh, the higher the time frame it is, the more accurate your support or resistance will be. You have to leave some chance for it to go a little bit below as well, because you can never know if it's a fake out or it's an actual support. Where can we see those confluences for stop loss? You can just check if you're using Binance, you can see the order books. You can see where liquidity lies, if there are enough buyers at below where you've purchased, or if there is a lot of sellers above your purchase area, so that you can get out of the trade without a lot of loss. Last question from Ritik Rajan. How support resistance psychology works? I see many times price go, if I it would face resistance, but price goes up. Okay, so what you are asking is basically a fake out. So that is the thing, guys. I mean, you cannot be perfect on anything. If everyone could draw support and resistance and it respected it 100% of the time, all of us would have been millionaires, right? I mean, it does not respect 100% of the time. You need to understand this. You just have to be accurate with your DCAs, with your stop losses, and you need to maximize how much risk you can manage, or sorry, minimize your risk so that you can get the best out of your position. Your favorite tried and tested strategy from everything epic. So there's a lot of people who use complicated stuff like maybe EMAs or Elliott waves, Fibonacci's. Yes, they do work, but what I've found to work out the most is you open the 4-hour chart in any coin you want. You draw a simple support and resistance for the closest time frame which is it is trading at. So I'll take for example this one. This is a support, just a rough idea I'm giving you guys. And just make sure you have your buy orders around this support line. I mean, that's the simplest strategy I have. I can't say the same for shorting, because usually supports are stronger and resistances are bound to break, supports are bound to held. So if you placed a buy order anywhere around this area, you would have gotten into the position. You would have made from around 20% profits if you got into any of these trend lines, and you could have gotten out anywhere. All right. So I guess that's enough for today, guys. So this was just the start. We have a lot of other lessons coming for you. There's a lot of more content coming. So I hope you guys stick around. I hope you guys enjoyed the session. Please do give your reviews on the Telegram channel, and please like, subscribe, and share the channel to all your friends so that we get maximum amount of viewers and we can teach everyone the basics and the fundamentals of crypto. All right, that's enough for today, guys. Thank you so much for coming. I'm AVK from Elation Finance. Thank you.